Hello again, Year 8. So in this video we are going to look at making the wheel for the car. To start off with, I'm going to start off in the front plane, and I'm just going to click on Sketch, and I'm just going to draw a circle. To make my life as easy as possible though, I'm going to make sure that I click the origin, the corner of this arrow here, as the center point for the circle. I'm going to use the Smart Dimension tool just to set the size of the circle, which is 29 millimeters, and then I can just very quickly zoom in and we can see that there. I'm going to go to Features, I'm going to produce an extruded boss base, and I'm going to set that through at 15 millimeters. Now I can click the front of the circle. If I right click, I can click on a new sketch, and then I can Control 8 onto the front of the circle. I'm just going to draw a little wheel detail in here, and you should now be able to see why it was very important for me to draw the circle where I did. It's now very easy for me to line this smaller circle up with the center of the larger circle on the outside. Just going to change the view to 3D. Now I can go to Features, I can do an extruded cut, and I can take that through just 1 millimeter. Okay. And now finally, not finally, but now the next job is to go to Sketch, Circle, click on this surface here, click on the circle tool, again using the origin point I can line that up, and then just set the diameter of that to 8 so it will match the axle hole, and I can just cut a hole right the way through the wheel. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm now ready to shell the wheel. Shell the wheel, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this surface here. I'm going to go to the toolbar and click on Shell. I'm just going to set a shell distance of 1 millimeter. I can show it on a preview if I want to, but now that I've seen what it looks like, I've built a basic wheel. So now we can start to work on the main pattern of the wheels. So we're going to start with the alloys. So all I'm going to do this is I'm going to click on the surface that I want to draw on, and I'm going to make a new sketch. I'm then going to press Control 8 to view onto that sketch, and I'm now in a position where I can start to make my design. So I'm going to start out by sketching a line that goes up just at a little bit of an angle, and then I'm going to draw another line that goes up straight, and that's just, I'm just going to use this to make sure that the pattern is symmetrical. I can now draw a circle around this shape here, and then I can draw another circle which is just goes out to this point here. As you can see, I've made a little bit of a mistake there. I'll just undo that circle, and I'll just make sure that this next circle starts at the origin point so that it runs symmetrical around. And I'm just going to go and make this circle a little bit wider just to make sure that it covers, it doesn't encroach upon this area here. Okay, because it won't cut. Okay, now that I've done that, I can go to the Trim Entities function, which is just here. I can click Trim to Closest, and I can just start to cut this down . Like so. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm just going to go to the mirror entities. I'll click on all of those. So I just highlight all of the parts, then I click in mirror about, and then I click on this line here, and you can see a preview appears, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to click on OK, and now what I want to do is I want to repeat this pattern in a circle right the way around this wheel. So I'm going to go to the up here where it says linear sketch pattern. I'm going to click on the little down arrow, and obviously I'm going to pick circular sketch pattern. Now I'm just going to highlight the bits that I want to make a pattern out of. So we'll click on this line, this line, if you're struggling to get the lines like I am, just zoom in. Okay, now I'm not bothered about this middle line here. I don't actually want it in there. In fact, I'll need to take it off the sketch in a minute. But once I've got the lines in there, you can see that a preview has started to open up. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on, I'm just going to increase the number of spaces in the wheel. And once I'm happy with that, I can click on OK. And I can now just go in and I will just fix this line here by highlighting it and deleting it. And now that I've done that, I can go to features, I can go to extrude cut, and instead of going blind through the material, I'll go through all, click on OK, and I've made my alloy pattern. So finally on the wheel, we want to put the tyre tread in. Now I have got a bit of a problem with the tyre tread, which is I don't have any flat surfaces to draw on. This is a cylinder, and if we have a look at the front plane, it's in the wrong direction. The right plane is also in the wrong direction, and the top plane is in the direction that I need it to be going, but it's in the wrong place. But I am going to click on top plane, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the reference geometry feature to move that from the middle up to the top. So I'm just going to click on reference geometry, and obviously I'm going to pick plane because that's what I'm dealing with. Now I've got a range of options, but the main one I want to look at is down here, and the offset option. Okay, now I can do this visually by eye by reducing the numbers, and you can see the plane start to come into view. But I know that my wheel is 29 millimeters in diameter, and I know that the top plane is in the middle of that. So all I need to do is half that. 29, half of 29 is 14.5. When I click OK, we can see that the plane is exactly where I want it to be. So I can now right click, activate the sketch function, log on to there, and I'm just going to very quickly sketch out a kind of zigzag tyre tread just along the top surface. I then go across, and then I copy the lines coming down. Okay, once I've done that, I can click on tick, and I'm going to go to features. I'm going to do an extruded cut, and this time I'm only going to go in, I'm not going to go in a full millimeter, I'm going to go in 0.5 of a millimeter. And I'm going to click on OK, and just going to click the tick. And when I come round here, we can see that I've made this hole here. Now to turn that into a pattern all the way around the wheel, I'm going to use the linear pattern tool, but in the features toolbar. I'm just going to click on, I'm going to turn it into a circular pattern. Okay, and I'm going to click on the surface of the tyre here. And you can see I had the number 24 set up in this section here. You can see that it's automatically copied this feature around that surface 24 times. I can increase the number if I want to, or I can decrease the number like so. I'm quite happy with the number 24. So I can now click on OK. And you can see that my wheel is now completely covered in a tyre tread. So the only thing left for me to do now is just to add some finishing touches. So I'm just going to use the fillet tool on this edge here. I'm going to put a small fillet in there, only about 1 mil. Okay, I'll do the same on this edge, just to round off the wheel a little bit. Make it look a little nicer and a little softer.